Good morning, class 8. Today we are going to study the story The Adventure of the Blue Carbuncle. This story is written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And this story talks about adventure and imagination. This story is a narrative story where the writer himself is narrating the story to us. The main character of this story is Sherlock Holmes. So before we study this story on page 5, I want you to write the word meanings from the board. Carbuncle means a diamond. Crumpled is crushed condition of a newspaper here or anything collapsed on the ground. Examine means to test, to inspect, or to scan. Crime means offense, misdeed, or some unlawful act. Commissionary means some agent or a uniformed door attendant. Hoodlums means a gangster or a criminal. Interrupt means to disturb. Now let us see the text. I called on my friend Sherlock Holmes on the second morning after Christmas. He was sitting on the sofa in a brown dressing gown, holding a pipe with a pile of crumpled morning papers at hand. Beside the couch was a wooden chair. On the back of the chair hung a dirty, worn, hard felt hat. A lens and forceps lay upon the seat of the chair. Obviously, Holmes had hung the hat over the chair in order to examine it. Perhaps I interrupt you, I said. Not at all. I am glad to have a friend with whom I can discuss my results, said Sherlock. The matter is an ordinary one, he continued, but there are some points of interest in it. I seated myself in his armchair and warmed my hands before his crackling fire. Although it looks very ordinary, a deadly story or crime must be linked to it, I guessed. No, no crime, laughed Sherlock Holmes. Let me tell you how the hat came here. It was 4 o'clock on Christmas morning, and Peterson, the commissioner, was walking home. A tallish man carrying a fat goose was walking ahead of him on the road. As he reached the end of the street, a little knot of rough men attacked the man with the goose. One of the hoodlums knocked off the tall man's hat as he aimed a blow at him. Now here, the narrator is explaining us his visit to Sherlock Holmes during Christmas time. And we find that the narrator himself is a very keen observer. He was watching Sherlock Holmes. He says he was sitting on the sofa in a brown dressing gown holding a pipe with a pile of crumpled morning papers at hand. And he was anxious to know what the hat has given the clue to the story. He wanted to know from Sherlock Holmes. And Sherlock Holmes tells him that he had examined the hat and he came to the conclusion that it was his friend Peterson when he was returning from the morning church Christmas time. He was walking home. As he was a commissioner, he was wearing his uniform. He saw a tall man walking with a goose, and it was 4 o'clock in the morning time. And certainly the roads were less publicated. There were less people onto the road. As this tall man came at the edge is the corner of the road, there were some rowdy people. Not means a group of people standing close to one another. So they were waiting for this tall man. And as he reached the corner, they all tried to attack him. They wanted to grab the goose from the taller man. And when Peterson went closer to this victim, the taller man, the group of people, they ran away. They were afraid of the uniform that Peterson was wearing. And so they ran away. The tall man also ran away, but he left back the hat and the injured goose. Now the story revolves around this goose and around this hat. And we'll come to know in the end whose hat it was and what was the story, what was the crime behind this goose. Thank you.